A stolen legacy. Africa before the chains. Africa, a land of vibrant cultures, powerful empires, and unimaginable beauty. This was Africa before the darkness, before the chains, before the ships arrived. Imagine bustling cities, centers of learning, trade routes humming with life. Kingdoms like Ghana, Mali, Songhai, shimmering with gold, rich with knowledge. These weren't just empires, they were beacons of civilization. Art flourished, music filled the air, stories whispered on the wind. This was Africa, strong, proud, independent. Then the whispers turned to screams. The ships came, bringing with them a darkness that would stain the world. Greed's grip, the roots of a nightmare. It began with sugar, a seemingly innocent desire that would lead to untold suffering. Europe had developed a taste, a craving for the sweet crystals from faraway lands. This craving grew into an insatiable hunger that would change the world forever. But growing sugar was brutal, back-breaking work, demanding more labor than the local populations could provide. Labor was needed, and greed whispered a terrible solution: slaves. Human lives were reduced to mere commodities. European nations, blinded by profit, looked to Africa. They saw an opportunity to exploit both land and people. It wasn't just about sugar. It was about power, about control. The thirst for dominance drove their actions. They saw Africa's people as commodities, as tools to fuel their growing empires. Lives were shattered for the sake of wealth. Treaties were signed, alliances forged, all under the banner of greed. Promises were made, but they were empty. The stage was set for a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. The human cost was immense and the suffering endless. A continent would be ripped apart, its people scattered, its future stolen. Generations would feel the impact of this greed. And it all started with a simple desire for sweetness, a desire that would leave a bitter legacy. The Middle Passage, a journey into hell. Imagine being crammed into the belly of a ship, with barely any room to move or breathe, chained to strangers, the stench of sickness and fear heavy in the air, mingling with the cries of despair. This was the Middle Passage, the horrific journey across the Atlantic, a voyage that turned the ocean into a graveyard. Millions were forced onto these floating prisons, treated worse than animals, stripped of their humanity. Disease ran rampant, the cries of the sick and dying a constant torment, echoing through the dark, suffocating holds. Those who perished were tossed overboard, their bodies swallowed by the waves, lost to the depths of the sea. Suicide became an act of defiance, a way to escape the unimaginable suffering, a final grasp at freedom. The journey could last for months, each day an eternity of pain and despair, with no end in sight. Those who survived arrived in the New World, but their ordeal was far from over, as a new chapter of suffering began. Enslaved, a stolen life in a new world. Torn from their homes, stripped of their identities, Africans were branded and sold like cattle. Families were separated, their languages forbidden, their cultures ripped away. They worked tirelessly on plantations, harvesting crops that enriched their captors. Every day was a struggle for survival, a fight against the brutality of the slave system. Families were torn apart, children sold away from their mothers. The whip cracked, a constant reminder of their dehumanized existence. But even in the face of such unimaginable cruelty, the human spirit endured. Echoes of chains, scars on the soul of Africa. The transatlantic slave trade left Africa scarred, its people scattered, its economies shattered. Generations were lost, families torn apart, and entire communities were uprooted from their ancestral lands, cultures decimated. The legacy of this dark chapter continues to haunt the continent today. But amidst the pain, there is hope. Africa is rising, reclaiming its narrative and rebuilding its identity, celebrating its resilience. The descendants of slaves are reclaiming their heritage, sharing their stories and honoring their ancestors, demanding justice. The fight for equality continues, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. The transatlantic slave trade was a horrific chapter in human history, but it does not define Africa. From the ashes of tragedy, a new Africa is emerging, one that is vibrant, innovative and full of potential, one that embraces its past while looking towards a brighter future. The scars remain, but they are a testament to the resilience and strength of a continent that refuses to be defined by its suffering.